An evil is coming that threatens our kingdom, our freedom. But we have a weapon they are not prepared for.
Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, a must-see, an Oscar that should be handed to Viola Davis. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wanted to see how they did a DNA test in the 19th century West African side of the world, this movie is going to show you how they did it with a shark's tooth. And I'm going to also talk a whole lot of shit to those fake ass woke haters that have corrupted the word woke. And I'm here to tell my black people and those that support the plight of blacks and folks who have been oppressed upon in America, just go ahead and let them have the term woke. Let's get into this movie review.
We are Dahomey!
What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Lamont Tyson. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time finding me. You can also follow me on Twitter, IG, and the Instagram. I got a TikTok now. And to anybody who's close to Viola Davis, if she's watching this review, holla at your boy for an interview. I've interviewed some other stars, and I don't care if people pick on me because I'm directly asking for an interview. I am, because she knocked this one out the park. So ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and address the historical facts before I get into the movie, because I feel like that is important, because this is a situation where art is imitating life. It's based on a true story, but of course everything that happened in the movie isn't true. So I'm going to address those things so that you can have something to rebut the fake ass woke folks who only find it convenient to believe in facts when it suits their narrative. And here's some things I've heard them say. And if you black, you probably heard this too. Whenever we talk about the issues we have here in America with race, we hear some white people say, well, I don't see color, okay? Then you have some who will revert all the way back to the history of Africa and say that your own people was a part of the slave trade. And ladies and gentlemen, they're right. And this story talks about that. However, what they're wrong about is it's always convenient to go all the way back to that. But the issues we're having here in America are of today's time. And we're trying to fix issues of today's time. Back as the world and life itself evolved, there were tons of brutish, malicious behaviors that went on. Even if you believe in the Bible, even if you believe in evolution, either way you go, there was some terrible behaviors. But we have supposed to evolve to be thinking better, to be better. And in terms of racism in America, America is supposed to be the beacon hope of democracy, a certain way of money in terms of free market capitalism. And we're supposed to be solving all the ills that the world has seen to be the greatest nation on the planet. So you tell that to your fake ass woke haters, and ladies and gentlemen, let them have the word woke, because we don't want it no more. How about we call ourselves those who believe in facts and logic, no matter what it means? And so yes, as I said before, this movie does delve into the fact that the Dahomey tribe, and I love that name, Dahomey. I could recall when I was in high school, I used to call people my homie, and I would say the big homie. And even to this day, I refer to people that I get along with as the big homie. But the name of the tribe was Dahomey. It was ran by King Giza, and my source for everything I'm about to tell you in terms of the facts of the story comes from the person who worked on this film, named Leonard Wachiki. He's a professor at Princeton. He's involved in international studies and politics. He worked with this crew, which is directed by Gina Price Bythewood, and writing credits go to Dana Stevens, Maria Bello, and Dana Stevens. And his work with them came up with all this data, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. They once called these women, the Europeans that came and saw these women fighters, they referred to them as Dahomey Amazons. And they really didn't say that in the movie. And a lot of people are happy because that was kind of it was a pejorative as well as a positive, because Europeans made that statement based on the Greek mythology of all female warriors, and they called them Amazons, kind of like what you call Wonder Woman in the DC universe. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking about this movie, it took place in the real deal trade was going on in the 1729. And these women first started out as a group of elephant hunters, and then they kept evolving because they did so good with that. And inclusivity was something that the Dahomey tribe believed in. Way back then, they believed in inclusivity gender roles for men and women, that you could do both. And this particular fighting group that seems to be based off the Dora Milaje from Black Panther was based off this. They're called the Agoge, and it made up about 40% of the Dahomey's fighting force. And that 40% was around 6,000 members of the Agoge fighting force. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the uncomfortable part of the truth. The Dahomey did get rich. Their nation, along with most of the other African nations that were rich, got rich because of the slave trade. And the Dahomey took slaves and gave them to the Oyo Empire, which was kind of like the empire overseeing everything in that region. And so the movie itself really takes place in 1823, where it claims to end slavery, ladies and gentlemen. But in reality, that slavery did not end until decades later. So, okay, I've already unearthed a false from the movie so that you guys can understand what happened. And the other bit of truth, ladies and gentlemen, the Dahomey tribe was responsible for 5% of all the 12.5 million slaves taken in Africa. Damn. So make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, the Agoge women, they weren't slave raiders, but this story depicts what eventually happened to the motherland and most tribes, because the issue in the motherland was it was losing its greatest commodity that they didn't realize was the greatest commodity until years later, which was its people. Those were the greatest commodities. And so getting back to the story, amazing story. And it starts out with Viola Davis, who gets raped in the beginning of the story. She gets raped by Dahomey, who was the main general for the Oyo Empire, Obe Adade. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm butchering these names, but just go see the movie and take my word that it's definitely worth it. And so what happened to her, the motivations for this character are simple. Revenge. And part of that revenge is trying to convince her king, who is played by John Boyega, that we must end the slave trade because the greatest commodity we have is our people. We need to start giving the Europeans gold and other things. And something else this story did that I like, ladies and gentlemen, they told a unique perspective of the porch nigga that we call here in America. And they had one porch dude whose name is Malik, and I'll get to him later because his telling of the story was very unique. And most of the time when we think of the porch dude, we're not talking about them in a good way. We're thinking about them in a negative light. But there were several porch Negroes that did do something positive, and Malik became one of them. But back to the main story. She is hell-bent on revenge. Now I'm talking about Viola Davis's character, because she was caught and involved in the slave trade. She got raped, and that rape ultimately led to her having a baby. And that ultimately led to her being the general of the Agoge women in the country of Dahomey. And throughout this, we meet another young character who winds up being passed to a king by her father. And she's so defiant with this person because this dude beat her because she didn't want to feel on him, give him a kiss, rub him, get his man child up high. And the dad just gave her away. And said, you know what? I'm not fooling with you. I am going to take you to Dahomey and give you to these fighting women and let you deal with them. And she was frustrated, this young lady. And throughout the story is building on her determination, her grit, her drive, and everything that makes up this young lady. And it reminds you of someone else that we've already met, Viola Davis's character. And so as this young lady is going through the trials and errors of the tribe and trying to get into this woman fighting group, you start to realize that there is a connection between her and Viola Davis's character. You don't know what it is, but you can see it. You could see Viola Davis being this young woman if the story was based on Viola Davis as a young woman. And along the way, Naui is the young woman who got thrown into this tribe. You meet Azoji, who's played by Lashana Lynch, and she knocks it out the park too, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Lashana Lynch probably is going to be considered for a supporting role Oscar in this because she hit it out the park. And they become friends, and between the general, which is Viola Davis, and Azoji, which is Lashana Lynch, they noticed something special about Naui, the young lady that was sent to the tribe. And so one of my gripes about this movie is how long they take to get through the development of these characters before we get to the third act. Very, very small gripe in the grand scheme of a great movie, but that is one of the gripes I have. And so here's one of the reasons why I feel like Viola Davis deserves an Oscar. Simply because we've seen her in all these other roles knocking it out the park. We've seen her win an Oscar for Fences, but we've never truly seen her be able to embody everything she's done in those other roles and also be a fierce, kick-ass fighting warrior. And I was like, going into this thing, I couldn't picture her doing it. But seeing the way she was able to marry all these elements of who she is as an actor together, definitely she needs to win the Oscar for a lead role in a movie with this right here, because she brought this shit together beautifully. And throughout this building of this empire and dealing with the king, you have great one-liners and touching moments because the king himself walks in, and it seems like coming to America at one point in time, because he walks in and he's saying hello to like 1,500 wives. And one of these wives is extremely ambitious, and she gets into it with Viola Davis's character all the time because the king has such loyalty to Viola Davis as his general. The wife is a little bit jealous. And like I said, she also wants to be the person that folks come to when they need the ear of the king. And everything Viola Davis wants to do to get rid of slave trade, of course, this particular jump off wife is like hell to the no because it's making her rich. And ladies and gentlemen, think about some of the sacrifices people have had to make for the greater good of human civility. I mean, a lot of people give up certain rights, certain privileges they have because they see the greater good for humanity. And that's what Viola Davis wanted this king to do. And this particular wife was not trying to have any of it. And so as we get on through the story and they're building and they start to see that Naui, the young lady that was brought to the Dahomey, she's tough. She's just like Viola Davis. She's rebellious, but she's tough. She's loving, but she's tough. And as she's going through her trials and becoming the best warrior they have, she does some stuff that they don't want her to do. Number one, she's going through a trial in which she's going to get a claim from the king. And instead of just running through the trial, whipping everybody's ass easily, she goes back and saves a friend and still wins the trial. When a fight breaks out and Viola Davis's character has an opportunity to get revenge on the person that raped her, played by the general of the Oyo Empire, Obe Adade, Viola Davis' character was going to be killed in that moment. But now we went back and helped her and got chastised by Viola Davis's character for disobeying, even though she saved her ass. And Viola Davis's best friend, who's one of these warriors, they had a little discussion. And guess what? I told you guys she got raped by the dude who ultimately she wants revenge for, who is the general for the Oyo Empire. She got pregnant, She had a baby, and ladies and gentlemen, she gave that baby up for adoption. And as much as you might be thinking it, you're absolutely right. That baby came right back to her doorstep as Naui. And let me show y'all how they DNA tested that baby, ladies and gentlemen. When the baby was born, Viola Davis cut a big gash on her left shoulder and put a shark's tooth in it. And in a moment in the movie, they're both in the pool of water, cooling waters, and she cuts the shark tooth out to realize that this is her child. But the one mystery they never said, who's the baby daddy? I would have to think if they was going to do a part 2 of this, that Obey Adoye would have been the baby daddy, but you know, you all going to watch the movie and see his ass is dead. Viola Davis finally got her revenge. And ultimately, along the way of that revenge, she also was able to convince the king that we need to quit giving away our greatest commodity, which is the people of Dahomey. There are 3 main characters you're going to fall in love with, people. Nanenska, the general, Naui, and Agoje, which is Lashana Lynch's character. And a sub person you might fall in love with is Malik, the porch Negro I was talking about. So Malik rose up with his Portuguese, partner that he grew up with, who slaves trade from this region back across the seas. And this particular brother, he has freedom, unlike most black people. And not only does he have freedom, but his mama was from the Dahomey, and the dude don't look like it because he's light skinned and he's mixed. So the dad was something else. And he always wanted to visit the Dahomey to see what he's missed out on, and he had a chance to do that. And when he visited the Dahomey, he is blown away by Naui and her beauty. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? In the very end, old pretty boy, Pretty Ricky, he winds up helping to save Naui. Never got the draws. He did not get the panty draws, but he saved her and wound up freeing a bunch of slaves. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to make no mistake. The way we have a negative connotation of the porch Negro, the quote unquote Uncle Tom during the slavery eras, there was a lot of them that had that position of privilege, that had that position of being better than the slave hands working in the fields, that ultimately helped slaves escape. So I was glad they gave that perspective of Malik, who had a great life, comes back home to see the way his people was being treated, and decided, you know what, I'm going to get in this fight for humanity, and I'm going to help save some people. And then I think, falling in love have a little something to do with it too. But damn, dude, you fell in love so fast, you ain't even get the draws. But I digress. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and hand that Oscar to Viola Davis. She knocks the hell out of this tribe and out of this performance. And I believed in John Boyega's accent. I believed in all the accents, but my people in Africa that follow my channel, let me know how you guys feel about their accents. And I know some of you guys might be a little upset because you wanted more representation of yourself, but they did have some representation of you in this movie. But let me know about those accents. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, on a life gain scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best, this movie gets an 8.5 from me, a must see immediately. Because the action in this movie, in the end, was great. The score was great. Costume was great. Cinematography was beautiful. The only gripe I had was the first couple of acts were a little slow. They could have progressed a little faster. But other than that, you will not be able to take your eyes off Viola Davis. You will not be able to take your eyes off Lashana Lynch. You will not be able to take your eyes off Thusu Mabu. I think that's the name for the character who played Naui. You will love it. And when you get to that final act, you'll really, really feel indebted. And you'll feel like you've learned something. And then when you want to get the real history or send somebody to get the real history, be sure to share this video because I did give you the real history. That's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get yourself that life game. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok. And you can also download this on the Life Games podcast. Until that next Sexy as Hell video, I'll see you.